at 7. So we didn't see the mega crowds, but we got the flavor of it. It was awesome.
Hey, good morning, Judy.
Good morning.
Morning,
I'm
Judy.
sorry I have a raspy voice this morning.
It's all that north of the border germs.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got it at Semana Santa. Not maybe germs, but I think it was mostly the wind and pollen that's been blowing around San Carlos. It had affected me before I had left, and I feel like it's stuck in my sinuses.
It sprinkled last night.
Yeah, boy, we had a heavy rain here.
They had like on what's up San Carlos. There was a Facebook post about Guaymas, and they got a downpour over there. But we didn't get I got a little corner of the deck is wet, so we got a little bit of rain. That was it, and it's clear blue today.
I always find that so fascinating in these areas. I feel like weather happens just a few feet above our heads. Like, Bill, you could be living across the street and I get rain and you don't.
Yeah.
Never felt that way in Alaska.
That happens in Loma del Mar. One side gets rain, the other doesn't.
Well, I remember somebody saying I think it was on here, they said there's actually 4 weather patterns in San Carlos. 4 separate ones that have different areas of different weather.
Oh, that's like microclimates.
Yeah, I guess so. And that I don't think that's counting Nakapuli.
So that's interesting. How come I can never remember how to do? They move tools around. Damn it! There it is. That's what I'm looking for. I just wanted to put a link to this document in our chat.
Anyway, the great tear down pack up has started. We're out of here on Friday morning.
Oh, wow.
Winter season's over again.
How is it going out on a Friday?
I don't know.
Actually, we're going.
we're
not going out on a Friday. We're going south on Friday. We're going down for a 5 nights Copper Canyon trip.
Oh,
and then sort of straight through with an overnight here at San Carlos, and then we're on our way. And then
the last night in Mexico is going to be in El Cadonas.
Yeah, we're going up through that way.
And we'll turn in our FMMs and get our thing stamped in El Cadonas and go up through to Laughlin.
Hey, Pop. Welcome.
That'll be on a Friday as well.
Yeah.
So.
We are just getting organized. I just hit the streaming button. Welcome. This is the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions, broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, the place of work I am at now. Welcome. I've also got a really raspy voice, so I'm going to rely on you guys to do a lot of talking.
Oh, lots of luck. Good luck with that.
So as we get started, it's just the 4 of us right now. I sent out a document yesterday and made changes to it, or have updated it as we've gone along. Who is Anonymous Dinosaur? That's funny. In the document, it shows different people as they get into it and look at stuff. And if you're viewing it without logging in, Google puts an anonymous icon. And in this case, it has Anonymous Dinosaur on it. If I can show it on this screen up here, it's got a blue dinosaur, and it's called Anonymous Dinosaur. Or
I just logged onto it just now to see what the new document you had posted. But
well, maybe it's you. If you don't log into Google, you're the dinosaur.
I may be.
No,
or it's anonymous, so who knows?
Who knows? There could be thousands of people. What's that, Bill?
To the document, so it could be me.
Wait, I think you added it this morning, right? I see you in the document right now.
It was yesterday, I think.
Okay.
But it was talking about
Ethernet
See,
spare.
blazing bits transmitted at 4.5 million times faster.
Yeah, that was very impressive. This is fiber optic technology
Yeah.
that has improved recently.
Well, down one fiber optic cable, not a, the other people competing for it or trying it are using multiple lines, and this one is a single line down, and it's astounding. I don't know.
Well, and just the numbers they bring up in that article, like typical fiber connection to the home, the average American's getting somewhere between 20 and 70 megabits a second.
Yeah.
Whereas this, and what you said is significant as well, because the last time they had this huge record of 300 and something, what was it? I had it in front of me. But the last time they had it, they were doing multiple threads of fibers to get that speed.
But yeah,
and
this one, they found some kind of way of putting it down a single fiber optic cable.
Yeah, very impressive.
So
And I think
you too soon will be able to download the Library of Congress in a couple seconds.
right. I think they
I
said.
have a question too about the.
Go ahead, Judy. I'm sorry, I'm taxing out my computer, and so I didn't catch that.
That was okay. That was on a different subject anyway. It's okay. I was just going to ask, how did you watch Bob Marley One Love, and who recommended it?
Oh, how did we watch? I think we used Streamio to watch it. Why is it taking so long for this to fill out? Anyway, I think what the article told us was they had gotten up to 301 terabytes a second. No, I can't bring it up on this computer. Let me look behind me here. And what was significant about it is that it was using a bandwidth, a light spectrum bandwidth, that they had not been previously. They didn't have the technology to do it. 319, that was with multiple strands, I think, and 301 through a single strand. Very impressive. Did we lose my pop? Looks like he's gone. Ah, I don't know, all of a sudden I've gotten warm in here. I'm taking this hoodie off. So have you folks brought any, we've already looked at bills. Judy, have you brought any topics for today?
Other than the AT&T data breach, interesting.
Oh, what do you know about that?
Nothing.
AT&T data breach.
That's what I.
Huge.
Is this what,
Tell us.
is it? Yeah, I haven't, is it new in the news today? Because I haven't seen anything.
It was a couple of days ago.
Mm. And
It
you have,
affects all past and current customers.
well, I'm an AT&T customer. What do I need to be worried about?
I don't know. Data breach.
Did they notify you?
They haven't notified me yet. They said they were going to notify affected people. And I think the breach occurred 2 weeks ago, but they just reported it.
I'm going to ask Gemini to explain it to us. See what it comes up with.
And what is Gemini?
This is the AI from Google. It used to be called Bard.
Oh, they changed the name.
Yeah. March 2024 affects a massive number of customers. Estimated around 73 million people have been affected. So this would exceed that really large the credit brokers breach. I've forgotten the name of them at the moment. But that was the biggest breach I was aware of. This is a huge number, 73 million people. Data exposed. Data set found on the dark web contained information like full names, email addresses, mailing addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, even some social security numbers and AT&T account passcodes. Basically everything everything needed to take advantage of you. Bill, I'm going to have to mute you because you are bleeding through. The origin of the breach is unclear. This is all a synopsis from Gemini. Data age, exposing data appears to be from the 2019 or earlier. Well, if that's the case, then I'm not in that breach. No evidence of financial information or call history has been compromised.
But it says current too, is what they sent across, was current and past.
Okay, well, again, this is Gemini. It has plenty of opportunities to make a mistake. It's going off of all the information it has, and it's a language model, so maybe it's wrong. It has decided that this exposed data appears to be from 2019 or earlier. We probably want to vet that. AT&T has reset passcodes for active accounts and launched an investigation. You know, another way that I may not be affected by this is the AT&T accounts that contracts use are different than the AT&T accounts that prepay uses. And so it'd be interesting to see those details.
So it says 2 days ago, this is AP News, the theft of sensitive information has been recently discovered, and in Saturday's announcement, the data breach, AT&T said that, what did they say? Oh, the same thing. 7.6 million current account holders and 65.4 former account, or million former account holders.
Wow. Well, that's got to be where Gemini got its total number of 73 million current and former accounts.
So it says consumers impacted by this breach should be receiving an email or letter directly from AT&T about the incident. But I don't know how they could change your password. That makes no sense to me.
How they could change your password?
Yes.
Well, with all that information, they could. I mean, if they've got your social security number, they've got your...
how AT&T can change my password. That's what it said that they were doing.
No, that actually is that's a very common systems administrative thing to do, is change your password so that your old password won't let you in. You'll have to go through like a forgot password experience.
Oh,
and
but
then
wouldn't they say that that's what's happening so that you aren't, I don't know. Anyway, I guess if they mail something out to me, that's going to take 6 weeks to get to me, so.
Yeah, and really they have to be careful with the forgot password thing, because if that's all that information's in the breach, then they've got everything to satisfy the criteria to change your password.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, I wasn't planning on mentioning this, but I just came to me. I was listening to a podcast on what is it called? Darknet Diaries. Darknet Diaries. I should put it in recommendations. This most recent one is an interview with a woman that has a psychology background and inadvertently ended up getting into penetration testing. And she tells this great story of how she got into this. And what she is doing is she's social engineering. She gets paid to approach a bank or a business and try and get access. She tells a story of how she was able to gain access to a number of different bank accounts simply by going through customer service and telling a sob story of losing her phone and her wallet in a foreign country. And she highlights all these different areas where she has been able to, just through the tone of her voice and the story she's telling, she's able to socially manipulate people on the other line because they're not following their security script. Morning, Sid. Morning, Chester.
Good morning.
That was, I don't mean to bring up recommendations early, but I found it very interesting, somewhat related to what we're talking about here with this AT&T breach. In this Dark Net Diaries episode, he actually, the host is an interesting guy, real nerd. And he got so fascinated by the way that they were compromising people well, in fact, I'm racing ahead of myself. One of the things that this woman did was an interview with a mainstream media, mainstream network that wanted to know more about the way people get compromised and what penetration testing is all about. She's a white hat hacker that gets paid to do this stuff. And so for the interview, and forgive me, I don't remember who the interviewer is, but she's somebody like on NBC. She made it clear to the interviewer that she was going to hack her using social engineering, but not give her any idea of when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. And she goes through the steps of how she used AI and a voice generator to ask her assistant, to ask the interviewer's assistant. This is outside of the interviewer. This is before any interview has happened. To ask the assistant to provide her her passport number. And so she goes into, like before the interview's even started, she's gone off into another room and she's given some excuse, and she's used her computer to generate a phrase in the voice of the interviewer, calling out to the assistant on her cell phone. Her computer is analog talking to the cell phone. She's literally holding the phone up to her computer speaker, and the speaker is asking the assistant of this interviewer for the passport number because she's prepping some documents to do this trip. And she's able to just completely manipulate this assistant because it's all on script. It's all in the right context. It's the right voice. She talks about how she uses a phone number spoofing software, which apparently is amply available in the App Store. I didn't realize this. I've never gone off looking for phone number spoofing software, but this is software that allows you, it comes up with, and you're able to type in the number that you would like your phone to appear as in caller ID. So she's got this interviewer's cell phone number. She's got the spoofing software. She's able to behave with the voice of the interviewer, and she's asking the assistant for security information she can use to confirm her identity as she steals the identity of this interviewer. It's a fascinating story, and she's very charming to listen to because she never thought she would get into this kind of work. But because of her psychology background, she seems really well suited for talking people into giving up information and access. Darknet Diaries. I'm going to put it under our recommendations under podcasts. If anything, it's a good reminder of how easy, and I can't spell correctly, how easy it is with technology now for you to get a phone call from your cousin, sister, brother, father, mom, and have it sound like it's them and be speaking in context about things that you understand as being only things that would seem normal to come from that conversation, but it's all been ginned up by technology. I will, when I get a chance, I'll look for the specific episode and put a link to it under the
Scary,
recommendations.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely training us to socialize differently. That's for sure. I think, yeah, I don't know if I told you, I was helping a customer talk to Apple about a product. He'd had his phone stolen. And the guy on the other end was so dry that I finally just asked him if he was an AI because I was just convinced I was talking to a machine. He was able to convince me I wasn't at some point, but it took a while. But that's the world we're living in now. Chester, have you brought any topics for today? Or Sid?
No, I've had a kind of interesting uh, morning. I've been converting a lot of photos taken on a Apple camera to JPEG, and it's kind of interesting. I'll go see if I can get the number of it. It was let's see, it's called HEIC. It's a
HE.
photo format.
Is that from an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like at one point, I don't know if you still have to do this, but at one point to see those kinds of photos in Microsoft Photo, I had to buy a little like $1 extension to the Microsoft Photos program. You're probably not using that. You're probably
No, I'm
just staying in
converting each
Photoshop.
I'm having to do them one at a time, converting them to a JPEG.
I wonder if you can, well, I don't even have to wonder if you're willing to suffer the insufferable format of a GIMP editor. They actually have a batch converter built into it, or no, you actually have to add it to it. But you're able to multi-select like a folder of photos of one format and tell it to switch it into another format.
That's a software or hardware?
It's software. I hate to recommend it, Chester, especially with your Photoshop background. GIMP will really frustrate you. It's a lot of the same things you do in completely different ways. But the fact that it exists makes me think there's got to be something out there that's fairly simple to just convert. I would do some Google searches on it.
The other thing I can report on is I think I saw a good movie. If that's of any interest.
HEIC to JPEG. Actually, Google just brings that up. It's a suggested search. Convert HEIC to JPEG for free. That looks like an online. It looks like there's a bunch of online, as well as Adobe has an online version.
About a second long, and you have a video. It's still a picture, but how do you convert that once you download it to a JPEG?
Yeah, and so what I was trying to put on my screen when everything crashed, dare I try it again? Okay. Oh, but have I closed it already? I have. Oh no, here it is. No, that's not it. Oh my gosh, I've got too much stuff. This is the window that's causing me problems. Yeah, if you do a Google search for HEIC to JPEG, you'll get a dozen different sites online that are helping you convert those kinds of photos.
I have no problem doing it photo by photo, but how do I do 10 at a time?
Yeah, I think we would have to find a utility that does that. As I was mentioned before, the GIMP, the reason I'm certain something out there exists is because the GIMP photo editor does have a feature like that. So I would expect you to even be able to add something to Photoshop. Maybe if you have an Adobe account, you're able to take advantage of a tool that would allow you to do that. I'm going to do a Google search on a different computer so I don't crash mine. batch is the word that we're looking for. How to batch convert HEIC to JPEG.
Right.
On Windows 11. You can actually use the photo app. Microsoft has got a
Yep.
document here.
I'm on Windows 11.
You are good. That's what this is for. This is the Microsoft Tech community. This is where enthusiasts get together and help each other on the official Microsoft site. And they've got recommendations. They've got one here called it's an app from the Microsoft Store. I recommend open. Let me see what this is called. You know what you can do in the future is you can choose to convert it as you synchronize it. So as you bring in the photos in your iPhone, there's a setting saying convert these to JPEGs.
No, the iPhone's gone. I no longer have that. I had previously downloaded one of the participants, or all of the participants. It was a group of people who did a cruise, and I'm doing a slideshow for them. And I got a mixture of that particular format plus movies that are 1 second long. And so I'm trying to put together slideshow.
Hey.
But the phones are gone. I don't have access to them. So
Okay. Well, and that's just something to think about. I mean, for future reference, your iPhone takes pictures in a high quality proprietary format, and you can tell it when you're taking the photos out that you want them converted to the standard JPEG format.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a setting right on your phone, so that when you connect it to your computer, that's all it's offering to the computer is JPEG images.
Well, that'd be neat. I wish I'd
Chester,
known that.
yeah, I think I found your answer though. I've never used this. I'm going to stick this in our documents so that you can look at this document, if you want. Batch converting HEIC to JPEG using Windows 11 photo program. Apparently you can do this right with the Windows 11 photo program. I'm going to put this link in the document, and I'll tell you what I'm reading here, and I've never done this myself, but it says you can use the built-in Windows 11 features. You can open the folder that has these HEIC files. You can select all of them. You can open them in Windows Photo, or open with Photos. Then in Photos, you can click the More option, the ellipsis, the 3 dots, and there's an option there to export to JPEG as the format. This will convert and save the selected files as JPEG in a separate folder. So I've never done this before, but apparently you can multi-select. You got to get them into Microsoft Photos to begin with. Then you multi-select those HEICs, and you go up to the options menu and you choose to export those as the JPEG format.
Okay, I had read that before, but what I didn't do is I didn't bring it up in Photos. I brought it up in another program.
Photos would have to see them first.
Yeah, I think that might work. Thank you.
Yeah, and you'll have to report back to us if it worked for you.
Okay. Then there's this weird movie I watched.
What did you watch, Chester? I'll stick it in our list.
I watched Elvis.
You did? And you say it's weird.
Well, what was weird about it, well, first of all, I thought it was a good movie. But the co-star in that movie was some fat guy that was named Colonel So-and-so from a European country.
Okay.
And he dominated Elvis's life and Elvis's finances. And
Oh yeah,
actually broke him.
more and more we hear those kinds of stories going on with these handlers of celebrities.
That's what made the movie worth watching. But what was so fascinating about it was I kept recognizing the face of this guy, and it was Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah,
And he
yeah, that's right.
must have weighed about 300 pounds, including a double chin.
Now they do an amazing job with makeup these days,
I
don't
don't
they?
know how they did that. That is just beyond me, how they could make a fellow fat like that, including his face.
Well, you know, they did the same thing with Brandon Fraser in that movie, The Whale. Actually, took some criticism for wearing a fat suit for it. But yeah, it's very impressive.
I could see the fat suit, but I couldn't believe the quality of the makeup on the face.
Yeah. Well, I've added Elvis to our list of recommendations. I do have some other articles that I've brought with me that I thought you guys would find interesting. One is a continuation of the right to repair. Oregon has just passed what is called, by at least The Verge in this article, the strongest right to repair law, which is impressive because California is said to have the strongest right now. Basically, they're saying that because what is significant about the Oregon law is that it bans pairing of parts. What do you call it? It was right in front of me. Parts pairing, I guess, is what you'd call it. Parts pairing. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is what makes it difficult for you to change the screen on your iPhone, because that screen has to be recognized as a legitimate iPhone part. Otherwise, it's considered a security risk. And so the computer, I'm sorry, the phone will make you aware of that at all times. This is not a genuine part. It may diminish your experience. I'm sure Apple, I've seen this on the Android platform as well. We replaced a phone on a or a screen on a Huawei phone, and all of a sudden the camera is not very good, and it's intentional. Apple or Huawei, they can give whatever reasons they want for it, but they basically want to punish you for not using a genuine part. You're using a third-party part, and so they're punishing you by diminishing your experience on the device.
They're being sued on that, aren't they?
Oh yeah, well they're being sued on a lot of stuff right now, but yeah, you're talking about this DOJ case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is so the governor of Oregon just signed this into law, and it comes into effect and affects 2025 products from January 1st, 2025 and on. A lot of this is retro effect, and it's very similar to what they've done in Minnesota and in California. But this is great stuff because it's all the shaping of our culture with technology as we move forward. It's things like this that are going to fix these problems that we're having. This kind of regulation, this ability to repair your devices is going to mean a lot more of them will not end up in landfills. And that's just a good thing. The ability to perpetuate the life of our technologies is what we should be striving for. So that's a great article. Bill, you had something you wanted to add?
Scott,
Yes.
you were talking about makeup and famous actors. I just posted a picture on your newsletter or the whatever. Somebody tell me who that is.
Who is? Oh, that's Tom Cruise. That's Tom Cruise in
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. That's right.
All the way through the movie, when I watched it, and I didn't know who it was until I saw the credits. I kept looking, I figured I should know this guy. But that's a pretty good makeup job on him.
I would present it to you, but I'm afraid I'm going to blow up my computer again.
Anyway, sidebar.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Well, let's see here. There was, oh, I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. There's a bladder sensor they're working on now. Oh, Judy, you wanted to add something?
No, this is a new topic, so go ahead with the bladder sensor.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess they've developed a sensor. It's a pee time alert. That's what the headline calls it. This is kind of cool because they're going to be able to put this in patients that are having trouble knowing when to go to the bathroom so that they don't have accidents. You'll get an alert on your phone saying, "Hey, you need to go to the bathroom." So you'll have enough time to get up and get to the bathroom so you don't have an accident.
Which can wake you up at night.
I'm sure it could. Does your phone wake you up at night? I bet you could set your notification to do whatever it needs to do to get your attention. What it really needs is just to be a hose so you don't have to worry about it. You can sleep right through the whole experience. Anyway, I thought that was cute. That's a nice write-up, short read, just talking. I mean, it's easy to imagine what we're talking about. It's amazing we've got that kind of technology now that they have an implant that you could put and it would tell you ahead of time that your bladder's filling up. You're going to need to go to the bathroom soon. It ends with they're trying to develop a biodegradable synthetic bladder patch. Wow, which is seeded with the patient's own stem cells. The idea is once the patch is implanted into the patient's dysfunctional bladder, adjacent bladder cells will migrate into it, ultimately rendering it into a healthy new bladder tissue. So they are deep into the bladder issues. An interesting idea. If they can get stem cells patched into your dysfunctional bladder, there's the chance of regrowing a bladder there.
Judy, your microphone was off when you were
Right.
talking.
I just was saying as a reminder that next week is the solar eclipse.
Oh, that's right.
And so if you haven't gotten your glasses yet and you're in an area where you can see it, as we are here in San Carlos, you better be getting your glasses.
Do you know anybody distributing glasses locally?
No, but I know people that have ordered them that are having the eclipse party.
All right.
Should be interesting. I think it's going to be visible in quite a bit of Mexico, it looked like from the path.
I saw the last one in Oregon, which was 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
At a perfect spot.
I also brought a topic that is a really long read, talking about using electronic circuits in fluids and mimicking the neural pathways of the brain. It's very interesting because they're talking about this shuffling around of these micro components. They talk about pushing ions instead of electrons, and how their goal is to build a processing unit that uses a lot less power. They refer to the human brain as making decisions, forming memories, as taking only 20 watts which is like many folds smaller than the amount of power that's required to even come close to mimicking some of the processes that they're doing. And through this new approach of moving ions, they expect to be able to lower the power needed to have these complex computations. It also looks to me like, because it quite literally is like a fluid, they move things around instead of moving electrons to create data. It seems like what they do is they move components together to create data, and the components that they talk about are resistors. Resistors. I'm not sure on the pronunciation anymore, but we talked about it years ago. The new fundamental electronic component that exists in engineering now, a fundamental building block of electronic circuit design that was theorized in 1971 and fully realized in 2008 by HP. I don't know if you guys remember, but we talked a lot about the memsistor at that time. And they're using this concept and have devices, memsistor devices that are creating these neural networks. This is the idea, at least. I can't say that I've gotten all the way through it. It's a multi-page article that is very interesting, but I liked the play on the memsistor. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, the idea being that you can use electricity to set a value and then remove the electricity, and that value will continue to persist. So you can have components that have been set historically by an electron flow in the past. This is a very interesting, nuanced approach to circuit design. You could use electricity to set a level and then remove the electricity and the level would set there. And anyway, you could have what am I trying to say? And I'm really sorry about my voice. You could have resistors that are dynamic. So logic could set what their state at the moment it was necessary, instead of being static in their state. So it opens up a whole new world of circuit design because of this variability that can be integrated into the design. The hope and dream in 2008 was they would use these kinds of techniques for things like batteries or computer states, so that you could have an instant on experience with your devices. It's the most rudimentary experience I can use as an example. You open up your computer and it's exactly where you left it. There is no loading into memory. It's always been in memory. It just sat there in memory with all the power turned off. It just sat there in memory, ready to go. Any comments or other topics you'd like to bring up? Any interest in what I'm talking about? You know, this is not, I'm going to bring up something that's not related to what I was saying, but it just sparked in my head. I just learned this the other day. I thought you folks would find interesting. One of the things that we appreciate about solid state devices, solid state hard drives, is that when they do fail because of use, because they have basically worn out, because they do have a wear out, they are typically wear out open. So you can plug that hard drive in and you can still get access to the data. What I learned the other day is there is a time limit on that data, that these devices have been built they may start losing data in a year if it's not an active SSD with available capacity still left on it. So, I mean, to summarize, SSD drives, the thought before was, oh, if it fails, at least I've still got the data on the drive. So if I need to, I can connect it, I can pull that data and copy it over to a good working drive, and all is good. And we are talking about wearing out the drive. We've talked about wearing out the drive in the past. One of the things that's very interesting about a solid state device is that because of the nature of the device, if it's bigger, then it is both faster and has a longer life before it's going to fail. If it's physically a bigger drive, so a 1 terabyte solid state drive is going to have a longer life and better performance than a 0.5 terabyte drive or a 256 gigabyte drive. The bigger it is, the longer life the drive is going to have and the faster performance you're going to get out of it. That said, when it does wear out, it wears out because there's a finite number of times you can write information to it. So you're reading and writing, you're running your computer. Eventually, at some point, it's not going to be able to write any more data because you have worn it out. In the past, the thinking was, well, that's okay, because at the very least, I'm going to have access to that information. When it wears out, I can still read from it. I just can't write anything to it. Well, what I learned the other day was that ability to read is directly dependent on how much space is left on the drive and whether and how active that drive is. So you can't just take that disk, that full worn out disk, and stick it on a shelf and call it a backup. Because apparently, without electricity, that data will begin to degrade over a year time. Now, because of the quality of these things, maybe it'll still be good 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now. I definitely have floppy disks that prove to continue to be good many years after they shouldn't have. But the industry is saying you should only rely on that for about a year. And that's what was new to me. Chester, you had a question.
I found that outstanding because I've been using a terabyte solid state external hard drive, recording years and years of information, but I only use it maybe once a quarter. And you're saying that it's not reliable. I need to back up my backup.
Well, you have to be thinking about it. Now, when the guy that was explaining this, he said that if you're backing up in the manner of you plug it in, you do your backup, you put it on a shelf, and you don't use the drive again for another month or two, then that is okay, Chester, then that should be a very solid backup plan. What you're doing is the right thing. But when you reach a point, and I don't know if you will, depending on how much space you have and how often you're backing up, but let me say it like this, there will be a point with Chester's backup disk where it will wear out. Whether Chester is able to wear it out is questionable, because how big it is and determines how much life it has. And so, Chester, you may never experience the worn out SSD. My point being, when you've approached that point in the life of the SSD, it becomes unreliable because you're not regularly writing to it periodically, giving it electricity, and leaving an amount of space for it to move worn out sectors of data over to the sectors that aren't worn out. If you're not doing that, and you're doing that practice right now, Chester, with your behavior, when you plug it in, you power that drive, the drive has self-checking in it. it's supposed to be recognizing data that's having problems being read from certain areas and moving it to other areas that aren't having problems. It's supposed to be doing all that kind of stuff without you even giving it a thought. That's just part of the life of the SSD drive. But as you approach that weared out point, then those things are not happening. And so it has become unreliable. I would say the moment that you can't write to that drive anymore is the moment you're looking at getting that backup onto a new piece of hardware. I'm sorry, the moment you can't read, no, yeah, right, I said that correctly. The moment that it's giving you errors or failures because it can't take new data is the moment you need to start thinking that that's an unreliable drive. I mean, it's okay. That's pretty intuitive, I guess. I mean, I came backwards to it. Like anybody that doesn't know all that background would feel the same way. I can't write to it. It's time to replace this drive. That's what I'm getting at.
But when that occurs, what you're saying is that you can still download the information.
That's right. That
That's
and
the
the
key.
yeah. And the fallacy is one that I have been making until I heard this talk, is that, oh, well, then I can just stick that drive on the shelf and call that a backup because I understood that I could get data off of it. What I didn't understand until recently is that no, that has to be an active drive for that to be reliable. And so as soon as you're not able to write to it, you need to be looking for a new place to put that data or risk losing it from degradation.
That's very good information.
All right. And that's just off the cuff. I didn't even realize I was going to talk about it. What else do we have going on? How are we doing for time? That's right. I crashed. I don't know how long we've been going. Not long enough for them to be worried about telling us the meeting's shutting down, I guess.
It says
Oh,
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Well, should we, I think we've probably got more than 6 minutes, but I don't think we have much more. Should we switch over to the other meeting right now? I'll open it up so it's easy enough for people to do. So yeah, if you want to start moving over to the other meeting. Awesome. I see Sid, I see Chester. Where's everybody else? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I
Hello?
see you and hear you.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, I
Well,
can hear you just fine.
awesome. I am assuming we're waiting for the others to get connected. Yeah, we're in the right meet.
Oh, I just went through a call, what was it, Sunday morning with Apple support.
Oh,
That
yeah?
last, yeah, the last update screwed up the podcast app. Nothing would erase on the automatic setting. I couldn't get anything to download. It was a mess. Had to restart or reset the phone.
Oh, really? Wow. So,
And
did you make it?
it wasn't
Go ahead.
it wasn't specific to old phones. I had people here at work with new phones that had the same problem.
I did not have that. You're talking about the 17.4.1 update?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not have a problem with it, which is unusual because the last couple of times I've updated the operating system, I've lost all the music on my phone.
Yeah, there's nothing but the music. I haven't put any personal music on my iTunes yet, but yeah, no, the podcast app just was out there. It wasn't working properly. And the point one was the repair for the previous update. That was the one where we all couldn't make phone calls.
Where we couldn't make phone calls. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering.
Both me and Justin had this problem. You go to make a phone call, and then you get that screen you get when you drop a call. It says cancel or call back.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That was the only thing you got. And I dealt with that before. And then the update happened and everybody else started having the same problem. Then the new update came out a few days later and that fixed that. But then the podcast app just died.
Well, that's wild. No, I didn't have any problems.
I'd have to hard restart the phone to get it to download podcast apps on the app or podcasts on the app.
On the app?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. That is the solution, isn't it, though? A hard reset. Did you do a backup of your system before you did the hard reset? Or did you have one in the cloud?
I was just doing restarts. And then I got on with Apple support, and apparently Sunday morning's the time to call them because I got straight through to somebody, and the guy actually knew what he was talking about.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, he had me do a backup, and he's like, "Well, it's on your phone. It's your only phone, so I'm going to send." It was the article he sent me was how to restart your phone without your passcode. And there's
Okay,
some
yeah.
information in there. We used just part of that. And I reset the phone. Everything worked fine. And I told him, okay, if I have a problem, I'll call you back. And he gave me a number to tell the first person I talked to, and it would get straight to him. But
Oh, great.
I didn't have to call him back. It just worked.
It just worked. All right.
It still
And you were able to restore your backup without a problem?
Yeah, no, it
Awesome.
actually gave me the option to just update.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, when I went to restore the phone, it
Mm-hmm.
said it gave me the option to either just update it and then restore, or do the full restore. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
so I hit
Gotcha.
the update, and it updated, and everything worked. It was a little tweaky. Then I did the restore, and everything's worked fine since.
Well, that's cool. And yours is an iPhone 10R, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, we're
have you?
fixing that this fall.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you've got a plan for upgrading.
Yeah, no, I was going to upgrade this year with the 15, but it was I just read too many bad reports on the phone.
Yeah. Well, we have reached a point where they are commodities. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. What I've read about it is that there isn't any reason to upgrade to it. If you got a 13 or higher, 12 or higher, there's no real need to think you need to turn it in for a 50.
Yeah, 12 to 15, they're all pretty much the same phone.
Yeah. In fact, I think that's that's going to be part of what this DOJ thing is about, is how we've kind of lapsed into this apathetic mediocrity when there's so much technology that could be being taken advantage of, but they've created a market where they're just doing all they need to do.
I just got into this phase where I'm waiting 5 phones and then I get a new one.
Yeah, that sounds good. The 7 year, like as soon as it stops supporting your operating system, that's not a bad time to be upgrading.
Well, yeah, that's why. Well, what we went 3 years past. They quit supporting my iPad before I replaced that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, in that, I think you and I personally already talked about this, but my old iPad got a software update the other day when that 17.4.1 was released. They released a point update to their operating systems for their Macintosh computers, their iPads, and their iPhones, but it spanned all the way down to version 15 of the iOS software. We're at 17, but they
Yeah,
did updates all the way down to 15. Whatever problem they
yeah,
found was a historic problem.
yeah. But the problem was my iPad was like 14.1.
Right. Well,
Was
I mean, even the
already
15, there's software you can't run on an iPad that's running 15. It's just
yeah.
amazing that they would take the time to actually fix problems that old.
Oh, it might have something to do with all the hassle they're getting from Europe and everything.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think all that European stuff and California and Oregon, this right to repair stuff, it's all just holding their feet to the fire. They're
Well,
trying to make
this,
they're trying to make the moves before they're forced to make the moves.
yeah. Well, this is the first year we're going to be working out in the field dealing with the right to repair on heavy equipment.
Well, and you know what's disappointing is that new Oregon law, just like the California law, doesn't include tractors.
Oh yeah, no.
I
Uh,
mean,
the
and
farmer
oh,
always gets it.
in the article though, what's great is they have an interview with the head of iFixit, ifixit.com, and he says all they've done is they've just highlighted the next the next um, businesses that we're going after. I mean, the only reason uh, they had to carve out for these tractors is because they have such a strong lobby in Congress. That in itself should be telling us where to focus our attention. Those are the next ones we're going after.
Well, it all started with John Deere, didn't it?
Well, it didn't, but it really made John Deere. The John Deere example is one that all of America can wrap their head around, and that's why it's become such a big deal. If it wasn't so obvious, I like farm equipment, it's broken. You need to get it fixed, or you can't make your livelihood. Everyone in America can wrap their head around the idea that a corporation has decided you can't fix your own tractor. And so it's become kind of the figurehead of all this. The problem is that those lobbyists have so much money and influence that they've been able to carve out these exceptions for themselves and maintain that monopoly on how you get your tractor fixed.
Hey, I think that farmers in the States did the same thing the farmers in Poland did. They
What's
just
that?
backed up all the manure spreaders. They backed up all the
Oh,
manure spreaders to their Congress and sprayed the building.
yeah.
They
That's pretty good.
basically buried the Capitol building in manure. Now that's a protest.
Well, everything about the right to repair law in Oregon is going to benefit everybody. I mean, all consumers in the United States will benefit from any of these right to repair laws. And I liked the guy. I should know his name, and I would have it in front of me if I wasn't afraid of my computer throwing up. The head of iFixit has been on the media circuits, showing support for the California law and now the Oregon law. And his point is valid. He's like, that's the list of groups that we have to go after next. They're the ones that are influencing this. Everybody agrees that we should have these rights, and it's only these lobbyists that are, giving money to Congress, keeping the status quo. Guys, I am sorry, I'm running out of voice and time. I would like to take a moment, and if you've got any recommendations. Oh, I've got recommendations that I'm sorry there's only the four of us left. But Richard gave me the most awesome recommendation for an app. Bill, are you listening? Chester, you probably find this useful too. Sid as well. There is an open source free app in the app stores that is cross-platform called Local Send. I put a link to it in our document. Local Send. This just saved me yesterday. Yesterday, I had to take a picture of 1099 and send that picture to the H&R Block website. I had to upload it. So I basically had to get the photo out of my phone and put it on the website I was looking at on my screen on my computer in front of me. Now you can tell me there's different ways to do this. You could use the H&R Block app and you could upload it from your phone. That's fine. But my point is, how often are you sitting in front of your computer screen wishing that you could get the document off your phone on that computer? And this local send will do it, not only from your phone, but back to your phone. You've got the PDF of your license update on your computer in email, and you just need to put that on your phone. This local send will do that. This local send is actually a very cool app that is completely free. And when I needed to put this picture on the website, I started up the app on my computer. Very quick, easy, dirty app, just starts right up. I started the app on my phone. I chose my phone needs to send, my computer needs to receive. It gives you these goofy names for your devices so they're easy to activate, they're to recognize. I think like my computer was called something like Jolly Panda. They're just random names that the software comes up with. My phone had something like Lollipop on it. And on the Jolly Panda, it asked, do you want to receive this file from the Lollipop? And I said, yes. And boom, it was in my downloads. As long as we were on the same Wi-Fi network, I could pass documents, photos, whatever, back and forth from these devices. I have since installed this on all the computers I'm using, so that when I need to take that thing off of my phone and put it on the computer, all I got to do is start up this app. It's called Local Send.
That word was send, S-E-N-D.
That's right. All one word, Local Send. And then I have one other recommendation that is for an app as well. If you have not installed Microsoft's Edge browser, this is the time to do it. Their Chat GPT is integrated. And so if you want to have a Chat GPT experience without paying $20 a month, this is the best way to do it. Install the Edge browser. They've got a Chat GPT button right at the bottom of the browser. So you don't have to read, you don't have to go to a website. You can just press the button at the bottom of the browser, turn on Chat GPT 4, and it is ready for dictation, both to you and from you. So I quite literally was doing work in my car as I was driving up here from Mexico. I was listening to podcasts and my mind was wandering. I'm like, hey, I wonder, I can't remember the question, but I was just having these wanders, right? I wonder how many transistors is in that new thing. And I pulled out my phone, I hit Chat GPT, and it's telling me a story. I'm asking it questions, and it's reciting back to me the answers across my stereo speakers in my car. A great free experience with an AI. So those are my two recommendations. And of course, the Bob Marley movie was a lot of fun. Look for it on Streamio. Have you folks got anything else you'd like to add to this meeting? You have any recommendations of your own?
I'm gonna go work on my photos.
All right, Chester, check out that batch photo trick that they tell us should work with Microsoft Photos.
Will do. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you next week, where it will be an in-person meeting in Tequilas.
Scott,
Yeah, Bill.
the local send, you have to have it on the machine, both machines, if you want to send things across?
That's right.
Yeah,
What you're doing is you're setting up a client-server relationship,
okay,
but that's only determined at the moment you want to send something. And you literally tell one device it's the sender and the other device is the receiver. The sender, you get to pick what you're going to send at that moment. And then the receiver has to authorize getting it.
okay.
It's essentially, you know what it is? It's very similar to the concept of AirPlay. No, not AirPlay. What's it called? Apple. Sid, what's it called? AirDrop.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? Like it gives you that kind of experience cross-platform. AirDrop is a beautiful experience, but you have to have a Macintosh computer, an Apple telephone, an Apple iPad to have that beautiful experience. This is cross-platform. Linux, Windows, Android, Apple, it does it all.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
All right. I'll talk to you guys next week, if not sooner.
No,
Yeah, the only thing
I don't
I had
think
to
so.
recommend was
we're on the train on Tuesday.
We're on the train. We're on the Cheppy train going down.
Ah, I'm gonna be in Tequilas by myself then.
There you go. And then we're headed north from that point.
Well, you guys have good travels, and we look forward to hearing from you again when you're settled.
You know, whenever we got a chance, we check in with you. Don't worry.
Yeah, the next week
have
will
fun,
be.
Bill.
Vegas. We'll check in from Vegas next.
See you, Sid. We'll talk soon, I'm sure.
All right, later.
Okay.
Have-
Scott,
Later,
I got
later, Bill.
a
Oh,
question for
what?
you.
Okay. Is it appropriate for me to keep streaming?
What's that?
Your question, is it appropriate for me to keep streaming, or should I shut
Yeah.
down the stream?
Oh, you can shut the screen down if you
Oh.
want.
Well, let me just say this has been the San Carlos Computer Club. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions in Phoenix at the moment. And we meet every Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I'll be back in San Carlos. So if you're interested in coming to our meeting, it will be in Tequilas at 10 o'clock. Until then, everyone, tech on.
Okay, now you're